Hello there friends, this is Dota News. We're here to create the best Dota News channel ever. Here's what we cover in today's episode. Cheats destroy Dota, new Aghanim scepter for Legion Commander, ESL 1 Birmingham qualifiers results, and much more. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. And we shall start our episode with the statistics shared by Knoxville. Specifically, let's talk about how strong Mage Slayer has become in patch 735B. From 7.28 to 7.34, the item was purchased 2,376 times in 17,000 games. However, in this current patch, the artifact is appearing much more frequently. In 830 games, it was purchased around 500 times, which is 4 times more than the previous patches. And it's approximately 0.6 items per game. Mage Slayer is now being bought in almost all roles, frequently seen on heroes like Tidehunter, Winter Wyvern, Ember Spirit, Slark, and even Hoodwink. It's clear that this item is incredibly powerful, and it's possible that Valve will nerf it to the ground pretty soon. But guys, let's be honest, for now, while it's still possible, let's use it to abuse it and gain free MMR. Salaries also shared interesting stats. Gaming Gladiator's captain shared his best ladder results. According to him, during his solo pub games he reached the top 2, but he couldn't quite make it to the top 1 due to a sudden losing streak. He also mentioned that Durachi also reached top 2 at the peak of his individual performance. Let's not forget that Watson is currently the top player in the ladder, followed by Quinn and Satanic. Players from Team Falcons, Tundra and Enigma Galaxy are also in the top 10. But if in the ladder Durachi was once on top, then in terms of popularity on the Liquipedia, he only took 12th place. Of course, this is not such a high result, but the statistics itself are surprising. Personally, I thought he was more popular. Well, the top 5 includes Yatoro, Quinn, Miracle, Thompson, and Toronto Tokyo. But in terms of popularity, Durachi's team took 1st place, Spirit took 2nd place, and surprisingly OG got 3rd. In fact, the stats are interesting and it immediately becomes clear which teams are the most popular among users. But fortunately, interesting things are brought up not only by pro esports players, but also by talents. Sir Action Slacks talked about how Aghanim's scepter for Legion Commander could be improved. He suggested that Ags should allow Legion Commander to use duel on allies to steal their damage. He also apologized to all the support, saying that damage is more important to him. It sounds like a very strange and even crazy idea, but guys, it's Sir Action Slacks. Crazy is about him. But if you think it through to some extent, it could greatly help Legion Commander turn games around. As we know, Legion Commander, thanks to the duel in the late game, can have more damage than when using a Divine Rapier. Of course, Valve is unlikely to add something like this to the game, but maybe it could be done in custom games or fun modes. What do you think, guys? Apart from everything else, perhaps the most interesting information was shared by the manager of Team Spirit, Corbin. He talked about penalties in different teams. According to him, each team has different penalty systems. For example, in some European teams, being 1 minute late equals $100 in fines. He also noted that no one gets fined for very large amounts, but they negotiate with the management instead. But what's interesting is that he didn't mention the penalties in Spirit. It seems to be top secret information of some sort. By the way, what does Team Secret do with the player penalties, since they were formed as a player-driven team, you know? Guys, write your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. Now, let's turn our heads to Eastern Europe, namely to Ramzes. As you know, he has been the main player and the main person of the new Liga team. They tried something with their old squad, but then they didn't succeed and they disbanded everyone except Ramzes. And now they announced No Fear, the X9 Pandas coach, to join the squad. It seems that Ramzes wants to lure his former teammates back to his side. But why Kiyotaka left so quickly? Anyways, we will find out very soon, as Liga team is heading to Kazan for the games of the future. It's really interesting to see how the new lineup will play. Just look at the new roster: Ramzes, Rabel, BB3 picks, 1J, Ike. It's difficult to say how they will perform for now, but let's hope that they will achieve more than the previous lineup. Well, while some teams are just putting together their rosters, others are shocking everyone with their level of play. So the previously unknown stack Klim Sonic just won over Virtus.pro in the lower bracket finals and headed to ESL 1 Birmingham now. In addition, the team surpassed Navi in the ESL rankings. Just take a look at the future stars of the Eastern Europe and the world: Munkushi, Chira Jr., Cloud, Sweden Strong, and Respect. Personally, I think that since they were stronger than Virtus.pro in these quals, they will be be able to show a high level of play against European teams. And by the way, there is a rumor that is highly to happen that they will be signed by one win. Anyways, we will see it all at ESL 1 Birmingham. But while some players are just happy to join orgs and start their careers with official salaries, things go quite differently in South America. K1 talked about salaries in his region. According to Heroic's carry player, $300 is nothing to him. And that's quite understandable because other players on top tier teams from Europe earn much more. So guys, if you were a professional gamer, what salary would you ask for? I mean, it's just living your dream, right? Write your thoughts in the comments below. Well, from a relatively good topic, let's move to a more unpleasant one. All players and streamers are outraged because of Overplus and how it is being used. It has reached to a point where people are making official statements turned to Valve with a whole bunch of evidences and requests to mass ban players who use it.
Reminder that this cheat app is still working and used by pro players and top 10 Immortal. So many popular streamers and high-level Immortal players use this third-party app to get an insane advantage without repercussion. You can advertise openly, can Valve do something? See someone streaming and they have this I like logo. On the top left they're using a cheat app, although they always hide it with their streaming software. Okay. I'll explain what it is. What the fuck? Paid from Russian devs, you can buy it, it's $3 a month. Main feature, it's a skin changer, pick analyzer. Pick analyzer. Remember Overwolf? The update that killed Overwolf, blah blah. The cheat app works similar to Overwolf, but why? App, you can see everyone's data even if you have your profile on private. So whatever you hide your picks on Overwolf Plus and third party. Still not convinced it's a cheat app? Okay, let's talk about the data reveal who's cheat apps. You see screenshots to see everyone's recent matches, best heroes, most player total matches, win rate, roles. If you're a captain, you can easily pick the best and avoid the worst player in a Immortal draft. Huh. It is a little bit scummy. And I'm saying this app doesn't give unfair advantage. I'm trying to cheat. You're dumb. You need to check yourself. Yeah. I mean, if Valve thinks the other one is cheating, this one is bad too.
But what exactly is Overplus? The first thing to understand is that Overplus is in no way related to the official launcher called Overwolf. The similar name and logo are just meant to sway users to their side, and Overwolf themselves has stated that they have no connection with this program. Essentially, Overplus is a free skin changer that also gains information from Dota buff and suggests heroes that can be banned. On one hand, it's not clear why players are complaining. After all, in LAN tournaments and official competitions, teams constantly ban each other's signature heroes and meta heroes. But on the other hand, why should ordinary players suffer from this? It's also important to remember that our game is not perfect and there are pay-to-win skins that can be easily obtained with the help of the same skin changer from Overplus. But beyond being just a free skin changer, which Valve considers a cheat, there is a program that allows players to see the best heroes of other players, and not only during the drafting phase, but also during the game, which causes some players to easily dodge games for their own benefit. This undoubtedly changes the game for the worst, and the saddest part is that Valve is not doing anything about it. While they used to ban Overplus users in the past, they are now inactive, thereby killing Dota. We hope that Valve listens to the players and starts doing something about this problem. Guys, what do you think about Overplus and all this situation? Write your thoughts in the comments below. But now let's move from the bad to the good, namely the results of the qualifiers for ESL 1 Birmingham. And let's start our review with the OG Tundra match in the finals. Previously, many said that OG is the kryptonite for the new Tundra lineup, so let's find out if this is true. On the first map, Tundra lost all their lanes and had to make a comeback in the game somehow. Luckily, with their draft, they could do that. Same for Pure, he has already shown us that he can dominate games with his Naga, and Tundra can almost always play aggressive when Doom isn't on cooldown, which allows them to create space for Naga. Both teams are approximately equal in terms of skill, which makes each of their matches interesting and even.
Smoke from Tundra, Thompson, he's got eyes on Ari. He's going to set up with just the silence alone there, and with the Sprout, PTM takes him with the jump stun over towards Whitemon. They're going to look towards Whitemon. Ari actually gets out of this. Minddraw jumps in, drops the Doom down onto BZM. They want to get rid of this DK, they will. Big follow up. The RP's there from Whisper. It doesn't matter. The counterplay is in place from Pure. He pops the song. The root's out onto Whisper. Whisper's going to go down. The Black Hole is there. The Laguna as well.
Pure's gone.
They bring down Pure, but Thompson, he's still fighting fit. Jump from Mike, jump from the stone. He's going to get the chance. Thompson to get the fade shift off. Get out potentially with the orb. Yuragi turns, focuses attention on towards Mind Control. Doom trying to walk away from this. The bounce of the Acorn Shout, not enough to kill him. Thompson's back in. He's in over towards Ari. All closing the gap over towards the Hooping, but Ari turns, gets the bushwhack off. Another jump stop.
Cutting Yuragi.
They're backing onto Yuragi. Face shift for Thompson. Thompson's going to survive. Ari to...
This match was no exception. Their fights were incredible. Pure is now showing an extremely high level of play, higher than Yuragi's.
Down. Only the second one making the connection, but just onto Pure as well. It didn't matter. Pure. He's got up to high ground. He's ready to jump in, gets in on top of BZM. BZM's going to get caught up inside the base. He's out for 95. They might have to consider buybacks. Inside the trees, they're on top of Yuragi. Yuragi is getting completely focused down. The buyback's coming out, but it doesn't matter. Yuragi's out for 2 minutes. No buyback. Seb pulled back for this as well as BZM. The Dream calls for Thompson, catches the two of them. They're out as well. Double dieback. It's game over. GG is called. Tundra have done it.
This is what won the game for Tundra, the best draft and execution put Thompson and his team ahead. On the second map, BZM decided to surprise us with their mid Mirana. It will be interesting to watch him and see if he can make an impact in fights. They didn't change much about the hero to make her a good mid laner. And overall, OG's draft looked much weaker than Tundra's. Phoenix cannot play Dota on this map, and you could say that Radiant is playing without a position 3 hero. By the way, one of the fights had a very funny moment. Thompson jumped into 4 heroes to send himself to the fountain, obviously.
Yes, they have to be careful how close they get to this Enigma. Mind Control stepping up. The Siphons, it's a lot of damage. Seb, drop the Black Hole, but the damage has been done. He'll fall. Does bait Thompson into his own death. Mind Control, he's going to pop the Ghost. Incredibly aggressive, getting in underneath the tier 1 tower.
But somehow he managed to take Enigma with him. Nothing special, just a small mistake. But Seb decided to tip Thompson, to which he replied, worth. It seems like the teams are tired of playing against each other and just joking around. It's nice to see that both teams have a good attitude towards the game. With this draft, OG couldn't do anything against Tundra's aggression. The Radiant didn't have anything besides Black Hole for the Alchemist. After another lost fight, OG realized that it made no sense to continue playing and called GG's.
They have no BKB BZM. It's just such a tough one to make work, but they have to try.
They got Thompson, but do they got Thompson? They got the opening. Yuragi's on top of him. Seb trying to get in position, looking for the Black Hole potential. He drops him and immediately gets Yul straight away. It's not going to work out here for OG, the 3 of them.
Tundra only needed to win one more map to break their losing streak against OG and qualify for the tournament. But something clearly went wrong on the third map. First of all, Tundra lost all their lanes for the 3rd time in a row, and secondly, Thompson played very poorly on Queen of Pain at the beginning. But even that didn't stop Tundra from making a comeback and taking a great fight. They even managed to catch Yuragi as a bonus for Mind Control.
That is what picks up, what, 5 of them? That's a lot of money.
5 of them, yep.
Might lose some heroes, don't they? Maybe not. Whitemon's actually in with the swap to protect 9 class. Whisper, lane mail's out, TPs are coming in. Tundra, they've got to think careful about if they want to actually try and take this fight. It's OG, they're bringing the numbers. BZM's got a DD rune, Sonic Wave pushes inside, he's been rooted. He's still able to get the slight off. Jumps out with the Ramzes. Mind Controllers for the arena, will be able to trap with the arena.
BZM's caught!
This time round, the arena is absolutely brilliant. He'll catch them all. They'll kill off the 3 of them. Mind Control turning up, and the arena, it completely ruined them. OG, they couldn't escape.
I guess BZM landed in the arena or something, and he just gets finished up. Yuragi coming in to get some kills with MC. Oh my god.
Okay, MC has turned up to the game. Had a bit of a slow start.
However, Thompson's team didn't just make a comeback, they also started demolishing OG without giving them any chance. And Tundra's mid laner, who couldn't hit his ultimate on heroes earlier in the game, just wanted that revenge. Still, Tundra managed to lose this game by first giving away Roshan to OG and then taking a terrible fight near their high ground.
On that one. That's so crazy.
Sure. He stepped out, the Shackle will find him. To bring him back a bit with the Gale Force. And the Bear could be in trouble, they're going to look to jump forward, look for the grab, they'll focus Whitemon first, Mind Control tries back up the BKB's there for Yuragi. Yuragi spits forward, with the waveform, Sonic Wave tries to push it back, but Yuragi turns into Bobby Ashley.
Yuragi's is dead!
With the right clicks, kills off Yuragi, Yuragi goes down. See what the rest of
these right clicks
about this. Thompson's in, he's ready to look for more, they get the swap back into the spear, over onto BZM, they lock down the Ember Spirit. Thompson will get hexed, Crepified, Glimmer, but it doesn't matter, the Unleashed punch is flying through Flari. Finish off Thompson, he has got a buyback available if he wants to, the buyback of course can be from BZM. BZM as BZM gets straight back into the fray. Remnants over, looks to surround 9 club.
The outcome of the match was decided near the Roshan pit, where OG managed to snatch the first game in the first fight.
Can they make the move in time? Seb's going to get swapped into the Hex. They're trying to set up on a Seb. Seb, can he run out into the arena? The bear catches him. They kill Seb.
They're on Pure.
Back immediately. The Roshan has not been killed off yet. Uragi puts the BKB. He's getting a spear. Control's got the control. The magic missile as well. It's Uragi. They're locking him down, but it's not enough. Uragi's the quap. He's able to blink away. They've killed on Thompson. Wait for us back and close the gap over towards White One. It's 4 dead on Tundra. They're going to be able to find.
In my opinion, for Tundra to be able to win this match, they just needed to win the lanes, instead of relying on comebacks in every game. And they solved this problem simply by picking their signature heroes. On the other hand, OG decided to experiment once again and put Ember Spirit in the off lane because he couldn't farm against Dazzle, although it didn't save BZM from Thompson. Traditionally, the early game of these teams' matches was even, but if Tundra drags the game, they clearly cannot win. That's why they constantly have to force fights. And Radiant managed to start dominating Dire, they just need to play carefully and calmly finish the game. However, there were some difficulties. It seems BZM didn't want to lose the game easily, and together with Uragi, they dismantled Thompson and his teammates.
No, I don't think you fight this. I think it's suicide if you do. You can poke and prod, but... now they're actually bringing the TB. Okay.
They get the bushwhack. The Mega Meepo's out. Pure, he's able to gather them at the Meepo safely together. Magic Missile thrown out. Sharpshooter's going to connect it onto Thompson. They bring the Dazzle down low, but Thompson's able to put the BKB in the shallow grave. To start healing up. Back off for now. Whisper looks to jump in, but he gets caught.
Thompson's dead.
They brought Thompson down. The Silencers are locking down Whisper. Pure brings the Meepos back up and try and take it out,
big.
but it's BZM with the cleanup. Triple kill for him. Pure, he's going to be off the mark with the Earthbind. They're kiting the Meepo. Pure, he's out the once.
Oh my goodness. MC's looking on the side.
Maybe consider if he can help this Meepo out. See if Mike Joe wants to jump in on this. He's not going to. He's going to let him go.
Tundra decided to completely ruin their easy game by trying to contest the second Roshan and wasting their buybacks. After such hilariously bad moves, Pure can no longer make mistakes. If he goes to the tavern without a buyback, the game will be lost. Radiant still managed to defend their high ground, and Ember Spirit uses his buyback to continue to fight.
And Whisper, but the racks are going down.
MC
See if they can make
in.
them punish, make them pay for this. There's the jump in with the BKB man. MC looking for the Doom's able to find BZM. They'll take out BZM, they'll move over towards Seb. Seb to fall as well. Now Doom locked down on towards the Ember Spirit. It's 3, it's the Aegis gone. The buyback actually coming out from Whisper. It's a risky move to be made here because I don't think there's any saving Uragi.
But the game was already over because Terrorblade lost his Aegis and went to the tavern without buybacks. Tundra finally managed to break the barrier in the form of OG, but the game wasn't over yet. At the end, BZM decided to pause the game, which caused a reaction from Pure. In turn, Seb asked him to chill. I would also highlight 9 class here, who added just better at the end of the game. But this match was memorable not only because of that, but also because of the trash talk, of course. Throughout the match, Tundra's support player 9 class tipped opponents about 15 times. You know, constantly demoralizing them. As the player himself admitted, this is his favorite part of the game, especially when he gets to trash talk Seb, the master of trash talk. Also, at the end of the game, 9 class sent smiles in the chat, but it didn't offend the players from OG in any way. On the contrary, Seb was happy for the young player and the entire Tundra team. On his Twitter, he wrote that he enjoyed playing against Thompson and he was really happy for them. This is truly a beautiful gesture from Seb, although it's a shame that he wasn't as toxic as usual. But besides Europe, the finals also took place in other regions, and China was especially memorable, where G2IG and Azure clashed. The teams played the longest best of 5 in the Dota history. The entire final lasted 5 hours and 34 minutes. The game was filled with comebacks, and the highlights from the game could be watched forever. It was beautiful, but in the end G2IG emerged as the strongest and won. We congratulate the team and hope to see more such intense matches. In America's finals, Shopify Rebellion and Nouns faced off, and Arteezy's team defeated their opponents with a score of 3-2. Of course, the battle was intense, but is not as intense as in China. In Southeast Asia, everything went smoothly, and Talon easily defeated GeekFam 3-0 without a hint of a close game. The MENA region was slightly more interesting, or was it? Falcons defeated PSG Quest in the finals, 3 times in a row for different tournaments. It's interesting if it's all because of Quest's coach leaving or Falcons are being just stronger. There was also a close game in South America, a tough 3-2 for Heroic, but in the end Devailama and K1 are going to Birmingham. We expect nothing but the same strong game from them. Here's the full list of ESL 1 Birmingham participants. Gaming Gladiators, BB Team, Team Liquid, Extreme Gaming, Tundra, Team Spirit, Klim Sonic, Team Falcons, G2IG, Talon Esports, Shopify Rebellion, and Heroic. Who do you think will win this tournament? Write your predictions in the comments below. Personally, my favorites are Team Spirit and GG. And in the end of the episode, we'll show you the best highlights, which you certainly want to see. First, just take a look at this beauty.
Can he do it? He's got to link up in one. He'll go for the ancient. Here comes the TPs. Low. Oh no, the backdoor protection. He's going to try anyway though. He might have the damage, but no, Monet still trying to get him. Ori, can he do it on the timber? I don't think he can. They'll skewer him back into the fountain. Ori is gone. Low. He loses both Divine Rape.
The next moment is from OG Tundra match. No comments.
And they're in with the Sprout. BZM takes him with a jump stun over towards Whitemon. They're going to look towards Whitemon. Ari actually gets out of this. Mindflow jumps in, drops the Doom down onto BZM. They want to get rid of this DK. They will. Follow up. The RP's there for Whisper. It doesn't matter. The counterplay is in place for Pure. He pops the song. The root's out onto Whisper. Whisper's going to go down. The Black Hole is there. The Laguna as well.
Pure's gone.
They bring down Pure, but Thompson, he's still fighting fit. Jump on Mike, drop the stone. He's going to get the chance. Thompson can get the fake lift off. Get out potentially with the orb. Yuragi turns, focuses attention on towards Mike. Doom trying to walk away from this. The works of the Acorn shout, not enough to kill him. Thompson's back in. He's in over towards Ari. Orb closing the gap over towards the Hooping, but Ari turns, gets the push back off. Another jump stop from Mike. They're back in onto Yuragi. Faced it for Thompson. Thompson's going to.
And the last one is from G2IG versus Azure.
Jump in. Bark is there. They've got the Void, but he is okay. X-Nova will save as now they make the jump in onto Low. Ancient is exposed, though it's going down very, very quickly. The Chrono is out. They'll lock them both down. Bark and Low both focusing on the Ancient. Another Chrono committed. Low, he's still surviving. The mist coil's coming out from Bark. Won't let the damn troll die. Maybe they've got it this time. Though no. The Ancient. Oh, the Ancient's gone. The Ancient is gone.
Well, let's finish with the most important thing, namely the advice on how to increase MMR from the most popular player in the world. According to Yatoro, to win you need a carry with lifesteal or to buy Mask of Madness. This is a very strong item that many underestimate for unclear reasons, he says. Guys, thank you for watching. As you can hear, I am a little under the weather and not feeling well, so excuse me for not being too emotional or saying things right. Anyways, thank you again, and don't forget to leave your feedback in the comments below, because it's really important for me to improve by listening to you guys. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to follow the best Dota 2 news channel. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.